All right, this is a different episode of Eddie on Everything because we don't usually do stuff in the evening and stuff like that. But I've been accompanied by two lovely ladies, and they wanted to come on and be on the podcast. So here we go. So, anything? I don't know. We have absolutely nothing to talk about.
Well, we went bowling
Yeah.
Well, that's true. Yes, we did.
and you won.
And I kicked DJ's ass. That was my accomplishment for the day.
I tied.
Yes, the other young lady
Yeah,
won as well.
yes, that's true. You kicked your son's ass too.
I did. Good times had by all.
All right, so I'm gonna go back on this pyramid stuff just because it's weird and I don't know people like to talk about it on there, but they did a new kind of scan on the pyramids that were from a satellite, and everybody keeps saying, "Oh, you can't do a ground radar satellite on the pyramids because they think they're doing ground radar where it goes into the ground." This is not what that is. It focuses on the building itself, the pyramid, and it does some sort of vibration thing. I have it from there what it is, some sort of Doppler radar thing, but it hits right on the building itself and it takes vibrations from the building and it can go all the way down. And they found that there's 2,000 feet under the ground chambers going from the bottom of the pyramid all the way 2,000 feet down. And they have like little coils going around them and stuff like that. And I don't know, there's no, everybody's always thought about like how the hell did they build those pyramids in the first place? Okay, how in the hell did they go 2,000 feet down and then those columns are on two square
Pillars.
pillars.
Yeah.
That there's no way in hell that those people could have done that. No way. So, what did some people say alien stuff or whatever? And a lot of people are starting to get now that there was a civilization as advanced or maybe even more advanced than we are, much more before even the Egyptians and stuff like that. Which kind of, I mean, where and also the Sphinx. I didn't know this until a couple of days ago. The Sphinx was completely buried up to the head until like 1930, and they dug all that stuff out. They dug all the sand out and stuff like that. So I mean, who knows?
Right. I know there's some documentation that actually
It's like,
relates back to the Freemasons, that those pyramids lined up actually make the Star of David.
well, they're actually they're lined up. Jesus Christ! I just turned my thing way the hell up. I thought I was turning yours up, Bonnie.
On my end, but
Huh?
it's not loud at the end. But
Oh, it wasn't?
No.
All right. Well, anyway, yeah. What the hell did I do? Because I'm hearing it blasted from there. Oh, yeah. You are too, obviously. All right. Is that a little better? A little better? All right. They're aligned with all sorts of um, astrological
Events.
things and stuff. And there's supposedly one hole in the pyramid that comes in the summer equinox at exactly the right time that shines through and points on a
That's
certain
right.
place. And that's all good and stuff like that. I mean, that's enough of a mystery of itself. But what about that whole fucking thing underneath it? And the Egyptian government won't let people go down there. And hopefully, now that this is found out, they're gonna try and get into it better. But they're really looking. They're saying that there's either an alien help with all this kind of stuff, or like I said, there was a civilization way before that we even knew about that was much more
Intelligent.
yeah. And a lot of it has to do with the reason, like people say that, well, there's no evidence of that. Well, and the theory is that because every religion, every religion in any historical events say that there was a great flood. There was a great flood.
But
And the theory is that wiped out that civilization. Some people survived or whatever, and maybe they could have helped the Egyptians do some of that stuff or whatever. But they essentially got wiped out. And there's no historical records of it because of that. And I don't think that's, I mean, the Earth has been around for what, 3.8 billion years, they've said, or something like that. So why couldn't there have been another civilization way before us that we didn't know about that got wiped out by some cataclysm or something like that? And we have no record of it.
my opinion would be it would have to be, there had to be a culture or a civilization that was far ahead of us. I truly believe it probably came from another planet.
Well,
To
it's
be
possible.
able to dig down that low and build columns and tunnels, and then to make the pyramids over it, they didn't have those types of
Well,
tools.
in one of the theories, like the ancients, they think that possibly the Egyptians didn't build the pyramids, that they were already there.
There,
Like I said, because the
Yeah.
Sphinx had to be uncovered and stuff like that, that they were possibly already there, and the Egyptians just said, "Hey,
Mhm.
we could use this for something." And also one of the things they're saying is that, like with those little columns or the spiral, either stairways or something that's going around the columns that come down, it's almost like a Tesla coil, which generates free energy. So they knew how to harness energy, and it got pushed out to the top. Because if I remember right, I'm not positive, but I'm pretty sure the top of the pyramids were gold, which is a huge conductor of energy,
right.
and uh, could get pushed out through that to have free energy. I don't know, obviously, but anyways, any of that is like not only mind blowing, but it would completely change everything that we know.
Absolutely.
And I think that's why the Egyptian government is always tried to keep people from digging near the pyramids, going around it,
Right.
doing anything. And they've already found that there's tunnels in them and all that kind of stuff you can get into, but then they're blocked off, so you can't get in there. Why are they trying to hide? And I guarantee you, with these new findings, the Egyptian government is still going to be like, no, you can't. We're not letting anybody in there. Which doesn't make any sense because that could change the entire world.
Right.
And there's another thing, it's called the Hall of Records. It's kind of a myth, but they're saying underneath those columns there's another vast area that people are saying is a city or something like that. But there is something called the Hall that
Yes, there
it's
is.
fabled, the Hall of Records, where they would have records from ancient civilizations, possibly Atlantis, all that kind of stuff that's been documented, but it's been buried forever.
There, John Edwards, world known.
Sorry.
He does predictions. He can read you dead ones. Has taught several times about the Hall of Records. Sylvia Brown also talked about the Hall of Records.
It's been.
And apparently, according to these, we all have a file in the Hall of Records.
And see, I think this is what they don't want us to know.
Yeah.
Because they I mean, I don't want to get all conspiracy theory tinfoil hat guy, but and a lot of that has to do with like your past life and stuff like that.
Bingo.
And almost like it's got to do with the reincarnation, people that lived before. Well, that's what reincarnation is, I guess. And they just don't want to let that information out for some reason.
A lot of people who have worked with past life regression, it has come up in many readings about the Hall of Records. And it's supposed to be a blueprint of where you started to present. They believe it keeps adding on. Who knows?
Yeah, because
Who knows?
I believe their theory was you started at this point, and even you've died many times, come back, and every time you come back, you're supposed to, I guess, learn something different or do something different, and something else they've also.
The people, a lot of people believe, and I guess I do, the people in your life now were people in your life past them, and you were supposed to correct or learn from your mistakes, your interreactions.
And if you didn't, you do it all over again.
And do it again.
Ellen's like, what the fuck are these people talking about? But there's something else that while it's sort of relevant to this, the CIA has unclassified a lot of documents recently, and you know what remote viewing is? Do you know what remote viewing is?
Uh-huh.
Do you know what remote viewing is on?
Uh-huh.
The CIA has been using that for a long, long time. And they had people looking for the Ark of the Covenant. And they found it. And it sounds, the whole thing sounds like way out there, but it's actually a thing they're talking about now. It's shaped like a coffin, layered in some gold stuff or whatever, and they believe that it's either under the pyramids or under the Sphinx.
Hmm.
And it's supposedly, this is where it gets really weird, it has a lock on it that cannot ever be unlocked until the time is right. Anybody that tries to unlock it will be disintegrated. And it has like beings surrounding it that are taking care of it, whatever. I know it sounds whacked out, but I'm just saying that's exactly what the CIA files say. Because in it's a lot of this stuff goes way even back into, like, have you ever heard about the Nazis, like looking into like all sorts of like paranormal stuff and all that kind of stuff to get an edge on the war and stuff like that? And it's kind of even like the movie The Raiders of the Lost Ark. It showed Nazis in it, but it's kind of what they're like actually saying happened. So these people thought that these were actual events or actual things that they could get to change the tides in a war.
Hmm.
So I don't know. I mean, if that was happening then, and the CIA has documents on they're doing that stuff now,
Yeah.
and they've found the Ark of the Covenant, and I don't know, that seems
Crazy.
somewhat plausible to me. And it's so weird too how like in the Raiders of the Lost Ark, they were talking, not the Raiders of the Lost, but the second one or something, they were going for the Ark of the Covenant or whatever. And they were describing the exact same things that they're talking about
Wow.
now. I'm not saying they prophesized it, but
So I think we'll say good night.
yeah, I think we should probably cut it short, I guess.
Yeah.
Ellen, you're going to fall asleep. Okay, well,
Thank you, folks.
yeah.
Thank you, Ed. Thank you.
Thank you.